Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once more to another fantastic showcase here of some of the OWWC teams that you're going to see here in 2026. And Mr. Ransom himself joining me here today. We're taking a look here at Team Portugal and Team Iceland. And I'm especially excited in this situation right here to see both of these here teams today. Lots of familiar names, and honestly, just happy to be here to see another two countries showing off some of their best players.
Yeah, definitely, right? I'm taking a look at past lineups for both of these two teams, and a lot of it is kind of the same. Obviously, we don't have Finzi any longer in the Overwatch scene, right? So he's not here. But Orion, we're seeing it already on there for Team Iceland, who was a DPS player, and then Futhark as well, a support player coming back from the 2023 World Cup squad. And then over again onto the side of Portugal, right? We've got a lot of people coming back as well. D Cruz, the name that's sticking out that wasn't on the 2023 roster, but someone to look forward to watching today. And then as well, Rod FD coming back from that roster as well.
Yeah, there is a lot of really experienced players on both of these teams. A lot of the recent Portugal players have been playing a lot through Face It League in recent times. Things like Andromeda as well. You'll recognize people like Rafa and Warrior from FTW Evolution playing all the way over in Andromeda, which is starting their third season right now for their EMEA folks. But a lot of these talent do also come from Face It League. Karama was a part of that grand final squad from U3 in Season 6, and in more recent times, D Cruz and Rod FD over on Dreamlight, who's performed very well in recent times in Andromeda and throughout EMEA for Face It League as well. So there's a lot of talent on that side, and you may think Iceland is, lesser known players of region, but honestly, the thing that's really important here, Joker, is these players are very experienced with each other throughout a lot of their occurrences. Obviously, quite a few of these members, especially all this backline, played in that 2023 squad for OWWC alongside Orion, as you brought up earlier, was part of that squad as well. But there's a lot of experience, and honestly, that does make a big difference, especially early on in building up a lot of that synergy.
Yeah, definitely. And I also do want to say, because he wasn't in the lobby previously, Karuma was also on that 2023 Portugal roster. And I'm really excited to see this, right? We've been talking about it mainly. We've been doing a lot of the Caribbean region, South America stuff for Grupo Senju. But this is our first real look at EMEA, the EMEA region, and I'm really excited to see that because right now we're seeing in the North America, South America region, we're seeing some underdog rosters looking really, really strong. I'm thinking mainly about Costa Rica, right? Is what?
Oh yeah.
With which have gotten people coming out of the just from the unknown regions of Costa Rica, and are making a name in these show matches. And I'm really excited to see maybe some people from Iceland or other people on this Portugal roster that can make a name for themselves.
Yeah, 100%. And shout out quick to that Costa Rica roster, specifically Wetube, who a part of that squad also went and won the South America Face It League Grand Finals last night, alongside quite a couple of other members that I think you'll see on other teams, like Tizzy with Team Argentina, and Bert potentially with Team Brazil as well. So obviously big shout out and congratulations to them once more, as well as the potential coach who coached 2023's Peru squad, Redder, Hope to see them all again on the stage once more. But again, focusing on who we've got here in front of us here, it's fantastic that a lot of these players already know each other and have played with each other a significant amount, because this is what some of these Latin American squads do have with each other. I mean, you look back at, we talked about Nicaragua way back when, a lot of these players have experience with each other, and that does carry over in a situation like this. Even if you say, oh, well, they haven't competed with each other in nearly 3 years, that's not always the case. All these players are constantly around the same scope together, the same area, and you have to imagine they have still experienced something with each other over the course of these last couple of years.
Yeah, and then obviously, got another person to look at here is on Iceland, Ginger Refill.
Mm-hmm.
One of the lone, well, it looks like to be the lone NA collegiate player in Cumberland University. So, and Cumberland, right? If I'm not remembering correctly, Cumberland a very, very good, good Overwatch school. At least, in my recollection of things. As then, from that, I'm just excited to see how they do. We've already gotten some bans coming in from both of these two rosters here. Hunter, as it looks like Wu Yang is being banned by Iceland, and looks like Portugal's banning Hog.
Honestly, why not? Honestly, sometimes what we've seen a lot in some of these situations with bans of recent times is that teams won't go for something that necessarily they feel like they're going to run into or worry about. But if you feel like you want to go into this first map, see what it is they want to bring to the table, and not potentially preemptively ban something that you want a little further down the line, we've seen those safe picks, and I think Roadhog is very much a safe pick. But it is worth noting one thing, obviously, with all the introduction of the new heroes, I believe they'll be available in this situation, which obviously is going to be new for all these teams, because to this point, we've only had the characters out for less than a week. We haven't really seen anything outside of the boot camp for what some of these competitive teams have been doing. So it would be nice to see how it not only affects them, but also what the boot camp may influence some of these teams in terms of their compositions.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like we do have a last second change for Portugal. It looks like T O. Let me make sure I get the name correct before I say it. It's not
I
even on
trust you.
our. It's not even on our thing, so I can't even get it correctly. Tia Golini. Tia
Yeah,
Golini.
Tiagolini is the correct pronunciation of the situation.
All
I'll
right,
make sure
perfect.
I'll make sure that it's not someone else's name by accident, because that does happen sometimes where people do change names. But Tiagolini, a little bit of introspective here. There's a reason why. Perhaps you've heard this name in previous iterations. As we look back over at season 5, EMEA was a part of that Good Guys squad. Very, honestly, really successful squad throughout the last few seasons over at EMEA. So that is fantastic to see in the situation right here, coming into play. DPS alongside, alongside Kurama here. So that will be fascinating to see right here. And remember, all these teams, they don't have a locked-in roster as of this point. Heck, some of these countries haven't had their committees officially announced. Some of them in EMEA have. These are two that just haven't gotten to that point quite yet. But either way, Mr. Ransom, we're getting ready to get into our first map here today. We're heading over to Busan to get things started.
Yeah, the only two that I know of, right, are Denmark and Finland, correct?
Those are a couple of them, yeah. Germany announced theirs as well. I saw the Denmark announcement the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, a lot of them haven't been formed quite yet, but you should expect those announcements over the course
This
of
week.
the next
Yeah.
over the next like several days. Most, if not all, should be announced. But we're talking about these new heroes being available. We are potentially going to see them out in force here today. But remember, teams have only had so much practice when it comes to these new heroes that you might not see them as much as you would think. But at the very least, you have that Emre on display, Fukurama. Everything else looks pretty to the standard.
Yeah, right. Eh, it's gonna be interesting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Skrama's gonna go back over to Vendetta. It's going to be interesting. A lot of current talk in the Overwatch scene about Jetpack Cat being broken. I think it's also just because some Overwatch players do not like to look up when they are playing the game. So we'll see if we see Jetpack Cat all today, or we're just going to see this composition so far. As Kuruma already getting caught out there by Ginger Refelt. A nice play coming in from the Diva of Iceland, but is it going to be enough to keep going, stabilize on the point here for Iceland, or is it going to be, yes, they are going to take first point capture.
Yep, and that's going to be pretty successful. They find the one elimination. Everybody else gets zoned out. And now, as a result, the action's going to be starting out pretty quickly here, but you have to be careful and keep Rafa in that mech by all costs.
Yeah, you got to keep that Diva alive, and well, you want that damage mitigation as much as you can. Now you're going to be able to dive in very low in the backline, but able to get alive. The peel is there. Futhark is going to fall down, though. Kuruma is going to be able to find that shot takedown one as well. Tiagolini finding the Lucio out. That should turn things around into Portugal's favor, unless there's a huge hero play coming from Crizzy, but that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, Crizzy just going to have to try to get out of there alive. Will be able to do so, but now we're looking at some of these ultimates being ready to be online closer right now, Crizzy, with that pulse bomb, but everyone is in this nice 60 to 70% area where a lot of these fights, a lot of these ults should be kind of available mid-fight depending on how long things go. Biggest thing right now is that Rod FD quite a little further ahead when it comes to this beat around the corner, so if they sense that they could take a level of aggression, there's nothing that's going to stop them from really doing so, but for the time being, you see Iceland kind of struggling to get out and get this fight started, but they're trying to get Kurama into a vulnerable spot.
Yeah, good field coming in from Portugal, keeping Kuruma alive. You know you gotta keep him up and healthy. That Vendetta can do all sorts of things. Crizzy is gonna fall now. Another pick comes in. Futhark is gonna fall now, so it is all even now, but it goes Portugal coming alive with another kill, taking down Orion, and that is going to keep it going to Portugal.
Yep, and now you're going to have 10 ultimates online going into this next one, and you could see a double of some kind. I imagine we see the double Kitsune Rush to get this fight started more than likely. Maybe Tiagolini is going to pop off pretty quickly with the overclock as well, but fight's going over towards the point, but again, someone is going to have to pull this first trigger, but when it comes, Joker, these ults are going to come out like crazy.
Yeah, they are. Now, this is, speaking of which, here comes the ult fiesta for everyone on this point. Orion very low, gonna get caught out. Nice Vendetta all coming through from Kuruma. Gonna find two. Now there is a trade though in response, so still looking well is Iceland. They just gotta be able to focus up more and take down these last couple of stragglers. That self-destruct, not gonna find anything. Ginger Rico gonna be able to get back into point. Orion back from spawn, takes down Tiagolini, but does fall quickly afterwards. Does look like Portugal is still in control at the moment, as it looks to be the case with Rafa cleaning up the last two on point. Crizzy is going to find Rod FD, but that's not going to matter. 100-34 for Portugal.
Yep, ends up being a really good display, and all 10 ultimates end up being used in that very long final fight. But it's a great display here out the gate for Portugal to kind of show a bit of their ability to not rush into a fight too aggressively. Because yes, you do have the Vendetta, but it's a little more difficult to assist it when you're on the Diva instead of the Zarya. The Zarya Vendetta has been the big combo we have seen from so many teams, because that Vendetta, Joker, is still incredibly powerful and difficult to deal with. There's a reason that Kurama has the most damage in the lobby right now by a mile.
Yeah, right. We're gonna continue to see. That's why that's why we're seeing a really good success from Costa Rica in the Americas at the moment. Kizzo on that. Vendetta has been doing great things. We're gonna see if Kurama can continue to show out on the Detta. But right now, I mean, oh my goodness, already coming in. Leon just could not get away. Looking for more kills. Staying alive, though, from that boop coming through. And they're going to drop the sword right on the head of Green Kachu. Now, it should just simmer out and finish into Portugal's favor. Yet again, Crizzy is going to find that dank pun cake, but that's all they're really going to find in this engagement.
Yep, DMAC will eventually come through here, so Ginger Refill just gonna have to try to get out of here, but honestly, may be hoping for a quick reset here instead, as the point still hasn't been capped, eventually will, but that pick on Kurama makes things kind of interesting now.
Yeah, good pick on the Kurama is huge, and now you can come back into this so maybe a little bit more quickly if you are Iceland, but losing a Rion like that is just not what you wanted to see, and now you kind of have to back away if you're Iceland, wait for those respawns, and yeah, especially wait for that rematch.
Ooh. Yeah, and they will get it back online, so we'll be able to have a quick regroup here. Again, a situation where Chrissy's going to have the first ult online with that Pulse Bomb. Obviously, we saw it stick near the very end of that first round. We'll see if we can find a little bit more success here, as when it comes to everyone else, people are pretty dead even in a lot more of their ultimates right here, as Chrissy already has to expend the recall.
Yeah, very low as well, and they're going to get caught out by Kurama yet again. Ginger Refill trying to stay alive, but they're going to get the max self-destruct available here for Rafa, so they can just go in whenever they want, however they feel like, and take no prisoners. Kurama going to be there to follow up and take down Orion, force everyone back to spawn. Iceland just can't seem to get anything going right now.
But you do find the Pulse Bomb out of spawn. It does manage to trade things out, and Chrissy will be able to get back a little bit faster, but you see Rod FD going back to just get the taxi available, get back in time for this. But now, you're looking at Fuhar having the Kitsune Rush before Dank Pancake, so you could see a very aggressive approach here and force Rod FD to potentially use that beat instead.
Yeah, we're going to see here as they go yet again with the Kitsune Rush from Futhar. Now in response, Rod FD dropping that, coming through, and that should look to keep it going. So, Rafa does still have the self-destruct. They can still stay alive, and they're going to have to invest it here. There comes Kurama in with the Sundering Blade, but not going to be able to find anything this time. However, later Sound Barrier now comes in from Green Kachu, and that's going to help stabilize Iceland on the point. They're going to be able to take it back at 99% for Portugal, and they're going to be able to force Portugal back for the time being.
Yeah, but now the difficult thing is Dank Pancake is going to have this Kitsune Rush available, and there's not much of a spawns available. Obviously, you can make a little space with the bomb. Orion's probably got the pump up pretty hard with this overclock as well. You would love to pressure Dank Pancake as much as possible, but instead, Tia's going to go in pretty aggressively here.
Ooh, and Orion gets caught out and taken down in the middle of their own overclock as well. Dank Pancake was the one to start it all off. Self-destruct comes in. They're going to just get caught out in the midst of their remake, though, so it's not going to matter. Point flips back over. Overtime ticking away, and it looks like we're all but finished here, Hunter, as that is that. Portugal take map number 1.
Yep, and look fantastic doing so as well. Again, it's a great job managing a lot of the aggression that they are giving out, because they're allowing Iceland to get into these fights a little bit, but they are more taking advantage of their mistakes instead of necessarily being the one that initiates everything. The moment you see somebody going a little too deep, you see them pounce, whether it is on the person who has gone and initiated aggressively, or they go for that backline, but it's worked out beautifully in almost every instance. In all fairness, you do see that fight back from Iceland a lot of the time as well. They try not to let these fights be a complete wipe, but this is a thing where this squad, obviously all these squads we see, are going to continue to grow and get better and figure things out more and more, but Portugal is one of those squads that definitely has that pedigree and experience right now, and I think it's showing off pretty early in the series.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously both of these two teams want to show a little bit more from last World Cup, right? They both placed 8th in their respective conference conference cups, stuff like that. So obviously looking to build upon that, and right now that's what we're seeing. They're looking really comfortable, is Portugal at least, and we'll see if that continues. D Cruz coming back into the lineup here, it seems, for Portugal, so that's a fun one to take a look at going forward, as I'm very excited to see some D Cruz play.
Yeah, that is going to be extremely exciting to see in this instance right here. But we'll see how much it affects things in this scenario right here. I think Tia came in and did great during that first map, but D Cruz being in is what you expect throughout the rest of the series. But It's talking about this Iceland squad really quick. We've already gotten to see this squad very recently, as a matter of fact. They had a show match a few days back over on Thursday against Czech Republic, ended up winning that in 3-0 fashion. They looked fantastic during that as well. And you're going to see that in a lot of instances where it's really rough to decide what team is super strong, what team is not, because we have to see everybody play each other and see how they grow, because you're going to see a lot of these teams try a bunch of different things out. It's really going to be when they solidify their top 6, top 7 for these rosters that you're going to see things come to form a little bit. But right now, with what both of these squads are showing, I think they have every reason to be confident that these are most of the people they're going to be showing and representing the country for OWWC coming up this year. But I mean, so far, you gotta love the way Portugal is looking. They're starting out things fantastic.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm really excited as well because like there's not much more waiting,
Yeah.
because the conference cups are starting what next month in
So in
right?
terms of the conference stuff, things are not getting like fully underway until we get closer to summertime. But
Okay.
we do have all the wild cards to deal with as well to
Mm.
kind of settle in all those conference, and that's going to happen throughout every region as well to settle some of their wild card spots. A lot of teams that placed well in previous instances in 2023 are either already in their respective conferences, or in the case of your grand finalists last season between Saudi Arabia and China,
Yeah,
they are already in the top 16.
yeah, they're already in the event itself.
Yes.
Uh, but this is obviously why we're seeing the committees be decided very soon because they need to, well, pick their rosters and start practicing together, at least.
Yeah.
So again, like we said, should be happening in the coming days, like you said earlier. So make sure to follow along on Twitter.
Yeah.
If I see them, maybe I'll retweet them. Probably won't because I'll forget
Yeah.
that I said this. But
Yeah.
there are people like Overwatch Cavalry and people like that that'll probably be retweeting or making posts for the dedicated committees.
Yeah. If you ever want to check out, Ben does have the World Cup Watch Point and does
Mm,
a lot of articles for that. Has done some for some of the show matches we've had already, and is going to talk about a lot about these committees and the teams as they form as well. So that's definitely something to check out further as well. But again, a lot more is going to become apparent within these next several days as well, we're going to have these committees going to be chosen out. Now, as to how soon these rosters are going to be formed, it's going to vary for every single region. That's just how it's going to be. Some are going to decide very quickly, like some of the smaller ones. But if you look at
yeah,
things like USA, Brazil, you're going to see a lot of these open trials likely take place to decide who's going to get
definitely.
in. Which, to be fair, is pretty standard for the last couple of World Cups that we've had.
Yeah, like probably like something like Iceland, Costa Rica, all these the smaller countries that don't have as deep of a player base, probably already have their sights set on their players. I say Costa Rica because they haven't changed really any of the players that they have been doing show matches with. So you'd have to think they already have a good idea of what their roster is going to be. But like you said, there's going to be a long trial process for those huge countries like USA, like Canada, like South Korea, which probably we won't get to see, but will still be fun nonetheless. As we are about to head into Kings Row here.
Yep, and we had the bans come to form as well. Iceland bans first. They get rid of the Vendetta, which, after what Karama was able to do in that first map, it feels like the wisest choice. But for Portugal, they're going to take the Lucio out of the equation, force things to slow down a little bit here. But we are going to see a little something something hanging around. We have Karama out on the on run right now, and Rod FD is coming out on the cat currently. We'll see if this sticks or not. But I imagine it's a little bit of a troll, and it looks like it is going to be. It's too good to be true at the end of the day, Joker.
Yeah. I think they just want to make everything harder for us. Looks so. Is that Kurama's on a new hero, right? I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm
yeah,
not
that is.
bugging.
Yes, that is Onron, one of the
Okay.
new DPS, and Ginger Refill is coming out on the new tank, Domina, to get things going. And Domina has seen a lot of play. A lot of players have been saying he's a really strong character, and if things stay the way they do, this could be a pretty prolific hero that you see going into not just stage 1, but also the qualifiers that for NAEMEA are starting next weekend. But out the gate, D Cruz is the one starting strong.
Yeah, my friend group also likes Domino, but not for the competitive.
I wonder why. I wonder.
As, yeah, we're gonna get to see here how this works out for him. Very interesting kit, and I'm very excited to take a look at her today. But right now, Portugal still in control at the moment, as nothing's really doing quite just yet for Iceland. They're going to try to make their move here. Ginger Refill rotating through around Statue, but still not able to get anything going quite just yet. Rafa finding out Green Kachu, and that should help stabilize yet again for Portugal. Ginger Refill's going to fall down too.
Yep, and now you're hoping for the cleanup to come through here. Crizzy, last one to get out. Should be able to survive. No, gets taken out at the last possible second. And we'll see whether or not Crizzy decides to stay over on the Pharah. I think just getting a little too much pressure right now. We could see the ground Pharah start to be used more than anything else here. But you're seeing them kind of just hanging around wondering what to do in this situation. They need to be able to catch out somebody, and I know that's difficult when you have Rafa and the Sigma in your face the entire time, but you have something like the Pharah to break them through as Orion gets him strong this time.
Yeah, good kill coming in from Orion. Now you're gonna have to stay build upon this. Right now you're gonna push forward if you are Iceland, but nothing coming through quite just yet as Warrior is gonna find Orion now. Sune Rush coming out from Huthar, trying to get control of the point to start us off. Still nothing doing quite just yet. Still going to be building up, still waiting, getting a shield up on the point. Here is Flux now out from Rafa on point. Nothing doing quite just yet. Stunned up as he's still trying to hold out. Still looking for this hold. The Green Kachu going to come through, finding a pick, but Rafa in response, taking them out. And it looks like Portugal are going to stabilize and hold yet again.
Yeah, you saw Ginger Refill go for that Alpha Opticon. Doesn't work out too well, unfortunately, as Ginger Refill is unlikely to survive this affair, and here looks pretty surrounded, as this is going to be a bit of a long restart for them here. And yeah, and they're getting cleaned up a little bit more as well, as you saw quite a bit being invested. Krama's going to go in and try to clean house.
Green Kachu take it down very low. Kurama is going to fall, though. That's not what you would like to see, especially since there is only 60 seconds left. You are going to get back pretty quickly, though.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I don't hate it. At the end of the day, go with the double investment right here. That Vermilion Descent we've seen quite a bit, but the Tidal Blast is going to be used to clear some space here.
Stunned up, Rafa still trying to stay alive. Somehow, not going down. Good peel coming in from the support line of Portugal. It's Kurama and Rafa finding two in response. Still trying to hold it out here. D-Cruz rotating in, rotating around, looking for something, but it's going to be the team kill coming through from the rest of Portugal in the end. 20 seconds to go, and nothing really doing for Iceland.
Yeah, but they have the chance to get one more touch here, as you see them bring everyone forward really quick, speed everybody out with the Juno. But here comes that Flux, and it actually gets canceled out to get things going. But still, they aren't going to get a touch online here. Like, dude, just barely.
Lot of D just 3 kills there. D-Cruz coming alive with 2. Team kill comes through. Portugal, without a doubt, stopping them in their tracks.
Yep. Singular silver lining, though, they managed to get up to 50% and get that tick. So if we see the perfect play here, there is the possibility for Iceland to hold on, but it is going to take a fair amount. And again, we talked about everything we saw earlier. While Kurama has gotten a little more on the quiet side, D-Cruz has picked it up exponentially. Also, most damage in the lobby now, 16-0. Currently looking fantastic And it's not like you're lacking much in the damage department when it comes to Team Iceland, but they're having trouble finishing a lot of these kills off because, Joker, the amount of times we saw Rafa below like 100 health is staggering for the fact that Rafa somehow never went down.
Yeah, right. And that's just a huge, just huge spotlight to the support line of Portugal, right? Rod, FD, and Warrior, Guigo doing really great work for them. And right, and this is the
Yeah.
first time we're seeing Warrior, Guigo, and Rod FD together today because, well, it was Dank Puncake the last map. So still really good looking together, even when there is a change in the support line. And I mean, good supports keep everyone alive, right? And you're gonna keep seeing, if you keep seeing that synergy in that support line, this Portugal team could go far.
100% they can. They're looking good right now, but they still got to go in here and try to close this thing out with a good fight win. And that, honestly, that's putting this pressure onto Ginger Refill and just making it as difficult as possible to hold this aggressive angle. But Rafa down early is going to shut this fight down pretty quickly. But you see they're split in the backline right now.
Yeah, as Greek Chow Chu is going to be able to find Rod FD. Kurama is going to find a pick onto Orion, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. You're getting Crizzy all alone, and D-Cruz is going to be able to find that shot out as well, and now you're really changing the entire sightline of everything. Now you're allowing Portugal to get some some claim on the point now because you had to rotate around to get the people in your backline.
Yeah, but they're able to get back to the point before the first take goes through. Rod FD is lucky to be alive currently right now, but Ginger Refill just needs to focus on staying alive on this point and keep these going for as long as possible, as Kurama being taken down is a great start to slow things down.
It really is, and didn't even get a capture or 1% of that point up at all either. So that's huge for Iceland as well, trying to get the fuller hold on the point. Gonna get stunned up. Ginger Refill is gonna fall. Kurama back from spawn, takes them down. Now another pick comes through. A nice kunai to the dome. Chrissy didn't stand a chance. Kurama finding another pick, and this might just be the beginning of the end for Iceland on King's Row here. D-Cruz finding Orion out. People falling down all around us, and that is going to be King's Row to Portugal.
Yeah, and you saw Warrior in the backline almost the entire time in that instance, especially near the end. Ended up pulling back some people and left your tank exposed for just a little bit too long. It's a good play to kind of cause that, because that's what we saw during pretty much all of Portugal's attack, was this ability to not just take one central fight, but make Iceland have to play in two central locations instead. It caused them to split up, and it works out beautifully for Portugal, who, again, looking fantastic in this instance right here. Again, the amount of experience all the players have had, not just together, but also just in some of the highest tiers of VMEA over the last year or so, there's a reason why they're looking as good as they are. And for Iceland, you have to give them credit on the fact that they are trying different things and seeing what works for them and what doesn't. Because, honestly, in this show match right here, this early in the year, there is no better place to do it.
Yeah, definitely, right? And it's all about getting synergy. It's all about getting getting that teamwork that could, in fact, get them farther in tournaments than they have previously. And that's what both of these two teams are looking to do, right? They're looking to make their mark on EMEA Overwatch, and it all starts here. It all starts now. And Portugal seems to have a little bit of a head start, but that can obviously change when it's time for the wild card and then the conference cups.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes down as things proceed from here. But I think you're still going to be in an instance where you're going to see Iceland try a lot of different things as well. You've seen Portugal kind of been willing to do the same thing in instances as well. But it's going to be really interesting where things go with this next map, as we see Ginger Refill for Iceland is going to opt to bring things over to Circuit Royale, which is going to put things more into the hands of these DPS. And I think this is going to be a situation where you're going to see someone like Crizzy, I think, go over to sort of something a little different than the Pharah, bring out a little more of that hit scan play that we haven't gotten to see a ton of yet. But when you go to a map like Circuit Royale, Joker, those sightlines, it's almost too good to not let that hit scan do their work.
I know, and it's a great person to have in the lobby for Circuit Royale. D Cruz showed us on Kings Row with their Sojourn. We'll see if Iceland tries to nerf him going forward with their ban. But we'll have to see what they decide to do here, as we're still waiting to see what Iceland decides to do with that ban.
Yeah. But we do see Portugal bringing in some other people as well. No, not on our lineup either, but Flamenzo, who is previously on that 2023 World Cup team, DPS player, played alongside Kurama throughout a majority of it. So we'll be seeing them for the first time here today. But what's really going to be interesting is Tiagolini, at least for the moment, is in right now. And the one thing that's to note is that looks like a potential tank substitute. Rafa has been in throughout the series, but you potentially are trying something different here, which again, doubling down on the point that was made, Joker, that's what you want in this instance right here. You want to test things out, see what works, and allow yourself to kind of explore, hey, does this work? Does this not? Because it's not like these players are tied down to a specific role in this situation. Anyone can play anything. But we'll see what the display is right now. As we did see, I think the bans came through at the very least. Ooh,
you can't play anything because Baptiste was banned and Sigma was banned, which was a crazy ban coming in from Portugal, going with going for a Sigma ban on a Sigma map, which is insane. But maybe we'll see more of Domina coming out, perhaps something like that, or just something completely different in general.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that makes sense why Tiagolini is in right now, because that means we weren't going to see the Sigma anyway, and they're just going to take the ability away from Iceland to use it. But with that being said, we're ready to get into this thing. Daytime Circuit Royale. I'm not sure if you've seen this yet, Joker, either, but a lot of the maps also got some upgrades and some additions when it came to nighttime, daytime, evening variants as well. I think this one's been in for a hot minute, but they have been updated, and it looks really good. But hopefully we'll see. Be my guest.
I don't like it in the daytime.
It does. It's weird to see it in the daytime. You know what's really weird? And I joke about this with Dexatron all the time. Shambali Monastery daytime is so cursed.
Ooh, I don't want to see that.
well, we'll see. I mean, it's escort, so we already got that out of the way, but who knows how long this might go forward as. For now, Joker, we have the double Domina on display to get things going, and it looks like Flamenzo is actually going to be in on the tank in this situation. But to be fair, with the way the Domina kit is, it's kind of in the sense a lot of the time with like a Doomfist or a Juggernaut, where it feels like it kind of plays into that DPS mindset a little bit, where the tank is a lot more dependent compared to most of these other tanks.
Yeah, right. We'll see how that works for him, and there's always obviously been a lot of at least some translation between DPS and the tank role, especially for a more damagey tank like a Zarya, maybe like a Domina as well. We've seen a lot of translation between the tank and DPS role. We'll see how Flamenzo does today for Portugal in it, at least, if they're already going to get caught out a little bit. They're going to get blown up. Still alive, though. Just huge healing coming in from Rod and Warrior to keep them alive. Nice shot, though, coming in. Orion is going to fall down early on. And Portugal are staking their claim early at this sight line, or at this bridge, and they're looking to keep it going. Some shots coming through. Flamenzo has to back up a little bit. Still looking strong is Portugal.
Yep. Tigolini found the body shot onto Chrissy, not able to find the finish though. But you're seeing a lot of tank busting available for Iceland. You want to try to find Flamenzo in a lot of these situations and force them back continuously. And to be fair, it's working. It's done the job.
Yeah, Rihanna on that Bastion, doing what you expect from a Bastion, getting all that damage out. Now comes in that ultimate coming in from Ginger Refill, and they're going to be able to find D-Cruz out already. Slept up, though, so you're going to stay alive for a little bit longer there, Rod FD, but not Tigolini, as it does look like Iceland are going to be able to capture first point.
Yep, and you see Flamenzo back off a little bit here. It'll be given up, and this is easily the best we've seen of Iceland throughout this series so far. They're looking great, but now they're going up to what is, I call sometimes hard for a kill. This second point can be very difficult to take once you have been stopped, but ultimates are becoming a factor here. Again, you're going to have that Pananicon aligned for Flamenzo, but Ginger Refill is way behind in this instance, has really had to focus on survival more than damage a lot of the times. But things are ready to get going, and the Kitsune Rush for Jorg is going to get us started.
Yep, we're going to just make a lot of space for the rest of Iceland, but like you said, you kind of do need to push the cart with all the space you're getting. Now the overclock coming in thanks to the help of the nano boost, takes down George, and that should come through already, and all the picks come through from Portugal in the end. They're going to be able to stabilize on this hill.
Yep, and now this is where things are going to become a little more difficult to deal with. You're probably going to see Orion use this artillery strike a little bit early, is my estimation, to try to get some of these cooldowns out. You would love to force Warrior into a weird position here, seeing as they're the only one with an ultimate online on their side of things, but you've got 4 if you're ready. If you're Iceland, you just need to be careful to use these smartly and not let someone die early.
Not what you wanted to see, especially with that beam coming online. As Wario Guigo is going to find 3 with the captive son. They are going to lose 3 as well, though, and now Chrissy is going to try to turn this back with a copy onto the Tracer. Looking to build up the Pulse Bomb. Pulse Bomb available now. Are they going to be able to? Well, they definitely are going to be able to find an opportunity to at least use. Yeah, and they're going to find Tigolini out as well. They just yeeted that in, found the kill as well. That's an incredible Pulse Bomb, though, coming in from Chrissy there.
Oh, that is phenomenal. Now you go into this fight with an orbital array. You're going to have all the damage in the world, and Flamenzo is separated, doesn't get to stand, and now if they put buddies on this card and keep the aggression, I don't know if you can get a proper fight back here. Genuinely, you don't have the ults for it quite yet. If D-Cruz gets out alive, just maybe. But again, they're lucky to still be standing, so Flamenzo's going to come back on the Doomfist to get the initial touch.
Yeah, as they come in, Panopticon comes out. You get the touch, but Flamenzo's deleted. You're just walking into damage with Orion there. But 2 picks, a couple of picks come through, but it's not going to be enough, as that is going to be Iceland taking second point.
Yep, and they're looking really great in this instance. In times before, we've seen when they've been stopped, they have kind of found an inability to find that momentum back. But they do it there. And one of the harder points to really take back when it comes to that second point on Circuit Royale. But they're looking great. But you have that combo with D-Cruz and Rod FD likely going to nano that overclock. It proved greatly the first time it was used. Hoping to do it the same way, but you figure out how things go. You've already built up to 3 more ultimates as the nano has to be used to keep the Flamenzo alive.
Now they're going to come through, and we'll see if they're going to be able to keep alive. Flamenzo, Rod FD are going to be able to find a couple of picks now. More and more coming through from Portugal. As Chrissy does find Flamenzo out, but that's all they're going to find. Team kill comes through from Portugal as they start their hold yet again on point 3.
Yep, and now it's the same situation before where the 3 ultimates are going to be ready here for Iceland, especially that artillery strike, which you would love to use earlier on. It did catch out Rod FD early the last time it was used. It made things a little bit easier to fight back in that instance. But we'll see what the situation is. They're doing a partial rotation over to the high ground, trying to force out somebody, as Chrissy, again, forced to use that copy in fear of going down.
Your copy already, though, very close to their pulse bomb here, and we'll see if they're going to be able to find a kill with it. No, they do not, but now Orion coming through with the artillery configuration out onto the point is going to find some damage. No one falling, though. Still, you've got an opportunity to keep pushing forward, and you've got your Kitsune Rush as well to throw it down mid, but is it going to be enough? Rush comes in from Gord. Is it going to stabilize everything for you? But as Panopticon comes out from Flamenzo, they're going to try to stabilize here on the point. Crizzy finding D-Cruz, though, is a huge opening for Iceland, but is it going to be enough? Futhark is going to make the swap over to Lucio, get back as quickly as possible. Not going to be able to find anything quite just yet. Now as there comes in Panopticon into the back opposite, coming in from Ginger Refill, but is it going to find a kill? No, nothing coming quite just yet, but Flamenzo falling down to the focusing beam of Crizzy. It does look like Iceland will complete all 3 points of Circuit Royale.
And it's a fantastic job from them in this instance, where it feels like they picked up some of the mannerisms we see of Portugal earlier on in the series, where they obviously they have to be the ones to be the aggressors, but they let people come up. They let them be in a little too far, and then they take advantage of it. And so far, even in the stat line, while you still have D-Cruz and Flamenzo putting out just amazing numbers, Ginger Refill, I think, really showed up in this match right here over on the Domina. Looking fantastic throughout it all. These supports deserve a really big shout out as well between Futhark and Jorg. They have looked, I think, really good throughout the whole series, but I think it's been enunciated far more here on Circuit right now. But we'll have to see how they function over on the defense as well, because remember, it wasn't the prettiest start to the first point, but once they got things going, it stayed going. So, Joker, we're just going to have to see where things go from here, as the very least, the double domina is still on display.
Yeah, double domina still coming out, but we'll see if we finally get Jetpack Cat in our game here, Huntertain. Probably not, but it's fun to dream, right?
Yeah, it is. It's fun. You never know. Maybe you carry somebody to the back line. There was a clip of somebody in a game carrying their Reinhardt to the back line, little high ground before, but
No way.
Warriors look. We're we gonna get the cat? No,
we're not.
Boo.
Next one. Boo. Bring back Jetpack Cat.
I don't hate it though. Warrior's been so good on this Wuyong throughout the whole day.
But people don't look up when they play Overwatch, Hunter, so just play Jetpack Cat. At least in gold, right? And that's my competitive knowledge at the moment. But we'll see if this continues for the time being. They're already going to rotate in. A lot of damage coming out from Orion, as they do have that Bastion out yet again, but Rod FD, the one to find the kill into Ginger Refill, and now you can just push forward all you like and take all the space in the world here.
Yeah, but everyone else should be able to help themselves get out alive and reset for another fight here, which is something that Portugal wasn't finding themselves able to do back on their defense here. So it's going to be important, especially as Ginger Refill's a little closer to that Panopticon. So there is a little bit of extra aggression that you're able to take, but still someone's got to go and touch his point. Looks like Ginger Refill is going to be the one, but does have to focus on staying alive, because that's been the main target so far on this attack for Portugal, is trying to get Ginger Refill out of here as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's already going to force back Portugal at the moment, right? As now they're going to go in, Nano Boost comes through, Ginger Refill all alone, going to get caught out. They do push D-Cruz off, but I don't think it's going to matter in the long run here, Hunter, as Portugal is going to take that first point quite swiftly.
Yeah. Oh, it ends up being very swift overall. And the only thing they have to use for that is the Nano as well, which Rodafty's been, I mean, getting these at blistering paces throughout this series, quite honestly. But again, you're back in a situation where you're going to have Thorals available with your Iceland. You're able to take aggression, and Orion is going to waste absolutely no time, and I think is probably going to try to find Rodafty again, and you see right now, hoping to find something. This time, though, just doesn't.
He's now going to go forward, and this is, again, where dreams are made or hearts are broken, since it is the day after Valentine's. We'll see if they continue to go forward. It's a nice ability coming in there from Enzo, shutting down Orion, but it is not going to matter as everything just comes out up for Iceland there.
Yeah, I mean, Crizzy, really good burst of that damage, and Ginger refill, really good with the cleanup as well. And you're gonna see Orion go back into this one, gonna swap over to the Sojourn, gonna drop the Bastion a little bit here, so you're gonna lose a little bit of that tank busting ability, but it's gonna allow you to shut somebody down like D-Cruz a little bit more, especially as going into this fight, the ult economy is heavily now in favor of Portugal, who may build up to the Nano Blade, but I think you let D-Cruz be a little aggressive here, but not if you lose Flamenzo that early.
Yeah, now you're going to see the Dragon Blade in the back line for Tiagalini, but it's just not going to find enough. You do find Crizzy, but that's all you're going to see from Portugal as they have to retreat.
Man, and that's 3 ultimates in that fight as well, and all you got out was Jorg's Kitsune Rush. That's it. So now, you're going to have to throw this Nano onto D-Cruz more than likely and let the Overclock do its job, because elsewise, things are looking great, but you lose Orion early.
Now, gonna come in here as going forward. Tiagalini already found a pick into the fight. As D-Cruz also getting that nano boost. All the picks coming through now from Portugal, going to get their payload moving yet again.
Yep, and it's another quick fight done and over with right here. And Ultimates have been really expanded to these last 2 fights. The closest one that you have, by a mile, by the way, is Crizzy. So you're looking to probably copy the Gammon in this fight, give those extra shields, that extra little burst to kind of break through, and give yourselves a little extra sustainability. But Crizzy might be forced to use it early as well. Depends who they ended up catching on to. As you see Portugal taking their time. They are in no rush to push this right now. They're waiting for the right opportunity to strike.
Yeah, especially since D-Cruz got so low there. Flamenzo very low as well at the moment. We're going to see if they can continue. There's the copy coming in from Crizzy, but they're just deleted instantly when they get into that form, but not, so they're not going to be able to find really any value with it. As Flamenzo looking to build up to the Panopticon yet again. As pushing forward is them with the Crystal Charge, finding some damage. Crizzy is going to find Tiagalini out, though, with that focusing beam. And now, Crizzy finds another one. And that's just going to be Portugal having to reset.
Yeah, and Crizzy's looked fantastic on this echo, by the way. Gets the 3rd pick of our final blow of this fight as well. It's just going to be Rod FD getting out of that one. And now things are looking fantastic. This is not something that Portugal was able to do on this hold right here. They gave it up after 2 fights. And now you're here. You have the Panopticons both online. But double Spur Ultimates are already available for Portugal in this situation. If you go aggressively here, if you're... Oh my god, and D-Cruz is dead early.
That's huge, right? Like you said, now D-Cruz dead in the water. We'll see. I mean, Crizzy's just been on another level, and I said this, it's true in gold, and it seems to be true in Overwatch World Cup show matches. No one really likes to look up when they're playing the game, and Crizzy is just putting on a highlight reel for Iceland right now. But Flamenzo is going to find Ginger Refill out in Orion, though, trading it back, finding D-Cruz yet again. So there's definitely an opportunity. Orbital Ray now comes in from Stark, and then they're going to, in response, use that Kitsune Rush in from Rod FD, trying to push out. Just going to push away is Iceland. I mean, you have all the time in the world and all the space at the moment.
Yep, and now it's Final Fight territory. You're going to have to consider rush, but you have to walk into this Panopticon, which, remember, even with the cleanse, isn't going to stop it. It's only going to catch over onto one with Jorg, who he's going to be able to stay alive, but still, it's just going to go down to D-Cruz, who has to clutch up this fight with the Overclock.
We're going to see here, right, that's all on the line, but Tiagalini falling down. Crizzy about to have the copy as well. That might just be all she wrote.
Oh my god!
Cruz, they find 3! Can they find a 4th? Flamenzo's still alive. They find Crizzy out, and they're going to be able to stabilize here yet again. And this is why I'm so excited for D-Cruz, continuing to be a superstar for Portugal.
And I don't know if you saw during that, the double collat there midway through that fight. That was insane to keep them alive right there. I told you it was going to come down to that, and it succeeds. But now you have to try to finish this map. And remember, you don't have to do it with time since it's Escort. You'll still have an opportunity to fight back, but now you have that copy back from Crizzy, which has been hit and miss, but has still been a massive threat throughout this entire round. as they're rotating to this high ground, trying to find somebody early like Warrior, but instead, it puts them in a very weird situation where Ginger doesn't have backup all that much.
Yeah, I mean, Ginger's already so low, right? This is not what you wanted to see. 30 seconds to go. It's all up to Grizzy to start us off here. Maybe they're just going to wait as well. I mean, you have the time. You have your 30 seconds. Clemenzo is down as well. You don't have to invest anything you don't really want to, but Ginger Refill now falling. Now you have to invest into this, and Grizzy is falling down. Rod FD has dropped their Kitsune Rush on the point, and Portugal are continuing to push forward. Deep Cruz finding another pick here on Dorian. This might just be what you wanted if you're Portugal, and it seemed to be the case. But coming back from spawn, you have everything on the world, but you just need to touch.
Yep, and now Crizzy's going to be able to cop. I imagine the Domina here to try to sustain for as long as possible. The Genji jumps in front of Crizzy, though, so now it's going to be Tiagalini who's going to try to find something with the Blade.
Blade comes through, Ginger Refill down, Gorge down, more and more falling orbital ray in. Crizzy is going to try to turn it around, but Orion finding Tiagalini as well, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. D-Cruz has the overclock up and ready to go. Clemenzo needs to stay alive, and it do indeed. Everything going the way of Portugal in the end, and they take all 3 points.
And it is so clutch at the end of the day to pull this out. Because things, again, I think it's fair to say, and we agree on the fact that second point doesn't look good overall for Team Portugal. They struggle to get up there, but those ultimates, when they need them the most, they come online, especially in that situation for D Cruz right now. 26 elims, 16,000 damage. Only done up so far by the tanks right now, the Dominas, who, to be fair, in their own right, have been doing fantastic throughout the entirety of this Circle Royale, but now we're in the extra rounds. We have to run it back, and to double down in the situation, you're going to see Portugal on the attack back-to-back, and remember, Point A went probably the smoothest by a mile for them.
I don't think this is an exaggeration, and I want your thoughts on it. I said it during after D Cruz's 3 kill, but I truly believe D Cruz is a Portuguese superstar, and I think someone needs to give him a shot in OWCS personally.
Yeah, there are a lot of really good players that have been playing in this like tier 2 area, because to be fair, you've had them against, or with like some of the best squads, specifically with Dreamlight over the course of this last year or so, that have competing at some of the highest levels. But hey, hopefully 2026 brings us a little D-Cruz in our lives. But hey, if you're a Portugal fan, you got to be happy to have D-Cruz here right now, and hopefully to finish this out strong. With only a minute on the clock here, there is no room for mistakes early on. But these teams, keeping with what they know best, they're confident in what they've got, Joker, but still, they want to try to get just as good of a pace here as they had the first time.
Let's see here. Already trying to build up to these ultimates, obviously. I mean, it just makes sense. You're trying to get as much progress as you possibly can. As you're still waiting it out. Nice little juke away from those sticky bombs from Clemenzo to stay alive, stay healthy at the moment. Going forward, still waiting to find that opening for either of these two rosters. As Clemenzo still pushing forward, still looking, still trying to get any opening in any shape or form. Already in overtime. D-Cruz very close to the overclock, but Tio falling down early is not what you wanted to see. Orion very low in the backline. Need to get some healing. Overclock come through. Clemenzo finding Ginger Refill out, but they do lose your tank player. Now D-Cruz has to push in forward, trying to hold on to this. They find Futhark out. Can they find some more? D-Cruz looking for a shot. Rod FD finding Gorge, and that might just be all she wrote. Yet again, Portugal have some more time in the bank.
Yep, and they're going to get the forward spawns, but let it be, yeah, actually we'll be able to transport to the new spawns as well, so we'll be up quickly. But now, you're going to have, I imagine Jorgen and Futhark are going to go with a double aggression here. The moment they get to this corner, let go of both these ultimates, and it's going to be so difficult to survive through all of that damage, and Crizzy probably going to double down on the Domina potentially to take all of this space away. But you already see the aggression as Rod FD going to get these going with the Kitsune Rush.
Yeah, there's the Panopticon coming out from Flamenzo, but they're all alone, and this might just be all she wrote. Rush coming out, everything coming out online for Portugal that they can. As now Chrissy gonna drop with their overclock. Rod FD falls, and that is Iceland stopping them on that hill of sorrows.
Yep. But to be fair, with the minute on the clock, you have to be pretty satisfied with those results. Just getting through that first point feels like the minimum that you need to do a lot of the time. I don't know what your experience has been over the course of the last couple of years, but the amount of times that I have seen these rounds from Circle Royale end on this first point, it's kind of crazy. And that's not just because of one team getting full held, it's with both teams getting full held. It's so difficult sometimes to break through a lot of these initial chokes here. It's honestly just a difficult map to finish in general, but both teams have been able to do it, and now your Team Iceland, you're looking to find a little more success before, because remember, it did take them a little bit longer to break through that initial first point in comparison to Portugal, but I think both did a fantastic job. But one thing you're going to see, the difference Joker right here, Tiagolini is going to be in on the Mei, which is mainly just going to be used to either wall off Ginger and kind of just force all that damage out and burn them, or, honestly, I think more effectively, to be able to keep Flamenzo alive in some situations.
Yeah. And I have to agree with you there, especially since we're seeing the Bastion back out from Orion for the attack for Iceland. I think that's going to be a help to at least mitigate some of that damage as well. See if that is going to be effective, however, as they're already going to be backing away. Early on, Orion very low, and that's going to be all just broke instantly.
Wow.
Just almost burnt to the ground as Iceland is all guns firing right now.
Yeah, they're going to do everything in their power to burn down Flamenzo, because once that's out, you have to force this onto D-Cruz. And while D-Cruz is big clutch, they cannot do it every single time. So I really like this approach that you are taking if you are Team Iceland, but you still need to double down, allow this to come to form. That aggression, as Rod FD is lucky to get out, but Tiagolini also kind of lucky as well just to be alive.
They're still waiting to see, waiting for an opening. Anyone looking for that first kill. If Portugal gets it, that would be massive, right? You want to get that first, and they're starting to hold here right at the end of point number 1. But again, it's only a wait and see. Deeker is still trying to build up. Orion having the artillery configuration could open things up wide. Soon rush in here from Rod FD though, so you're going to be able to get some stabilization, get some extra bit of damage coming out here now. You can push back Iceland for the moment. You now have your overclock ready to go if you are D-Cruz, if they push forward onto you. Still waiting. So.
Yeah, but now you have double support ultimates, and Flamenzo gets crazy early, so you have to let these ultimates go. You cannot let them loose, but instead we're going to see the investment. They have all the damage to do it with 4. They're going to give it an attempt, but for the time being, it's a whole lot of nothing.
Whole lot of nothing. Gorge dropped that Kitsune rush, and it didn't really get any value. You still have the orbital array coming in from Futhark, but well, not anymore. Flamenzo finds him with a crystal charge. Now you have to see, you gotta find something out. You're still going to have it for this last fight. Flamenzo dying is not good at all for Portugal.
Yeah, that is disastrous, and to be fair, you might see them back on entirely, give up this first point, and play for this final corner instead, and that's what you're going to see be done here, because you have the freeze if you're Tiagolini, so you have an amazing tool here to be able to stop them right in their tracks. It's really going to come down to Jorgen and Futhark to let this go through, but the aggression is coming out early.
Yeah, you've got the orbital ray out from Futhark onto the point, but nothing really, you're not really pushing into it, so you don't get the value you were hoping for. But now you need to get the touch, and you don't get there if you're the Mei. Finally, you get there. You're now on the point. You've got the freeze available, but you need to stay alive. Chrissy with the overclock. Copy up online. You are going to get taken down, and Warrior Jr. Is going to find everything they need. Portugal stabilizes the Panopticon, sealing the deal. Portugal stopping them on the doorsteps in overtime yet again.
Yep, and now that puts them in phenomenal territory. They are at match point now. Only one more to officially win the series here today. But you see the GGs in the chat. I think there's some critical information being lacked here. But this is a phenomenal map for both teams, but D-Cruz, I mean, just really pops out through the entire thing. Ended up getting tied with the most elims with 34, I believe tied with Flamenzo as well as Crizzy, who Crizzy needs a shout out as well, was
Yeah.
phenomenal throughout that entire map. Obviously, the copies may have been hit or miss, but I think right now has been a phenomenal throughout the series, and especially so with Circuit Royale. But you see someone like Tio Galini come back in, and I think looks really good as well. It's something that you want to see in a situation like this, where these players look better on map 3 than they did in map 1. That proves that they are just, before our eyes, they are growing as a team and as players.
Yeah, they're looking really good, and it looks like we're gonna get another change for Portugal as well. It looks like we're going to see Dank Pancake and Wario Guigo get a run together as a support line here.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see what will go on in the situation right here between the both of them. And, ooh, Nighttime Esperanza looks beautiful. I'll throw that out there into the void really quick. But I'm excited to see these two together in this situation. Again, a backline that has their own level of experience with each other, but both have been playing on really good teams. As of like Dank Pancake in recent times played for Cafe Siena down in the expert tier for North America. Looked good over there, or I believe EMEA. I could be gaslighting myself, ladies and gentlemen, but still, that Cafe org has been doing a lot of things. I don't know how much you're in the space of it here, Joker, but the Cafe org, they had teams that won both North America and EMEA, respectively,
Wow.
with Kitsugi, who ended up beating Emo Dalmet in the grand finals, and then you had Jaeger, who ended up winning the grand finals of EMEA this couple weekends ago. So this org on fire right now, and Dank Pancake being on this team, it says something about the confidence that you have having a player like this in your org.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to see. We're gonna be going into push. That's what that's what Esperanza is. It looks like we're gonna get another change here for the Portugal roster as Tio Galini going out. As Karama is gonna come back in.
That will be interesting to see. I think Kurama, I mean, did phenomenal. I definitely was like the MVP of map 1 as well. And remember, that Vendetta's already been banned out previously on map 2, so it's gonna be available in this situation right here. So now you question what route you want to go down in terms of the bans, because you've already gotten rid of, like I said, the Vendetta. You had the Wuyong banned previously as well, so Warrior's gonna be able to bring that back out for this one. This is a situation where you have to find something, and it's going to be the Tracer, which honestly, I don't mind, because the thought is maybe they go for the tank ban, but to be honest, I think Ginger Rayful's been playing as good as their tank counterparts throughout the series.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting right now as Flamenzo is going to be staying in to play that tank role too. So we'll see what if they have more than that Domina in their pocket as we head into Esperanzas. We're going to wait for that Portugal ban to come through, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, that's what we'll have to do. And again, it could potentially be the last one of this series. There was some talk if maybe as a final map situation after the series is properly settled, that maybe we get to see a series with all the new heroes in it. But that was talks. There's no confirmation of that. Obviously, we'll cross that bridge if we ended up wanting to come to it. But for now, focusing on Esperanza. Again, Iceland, I think, looked phenomenal back on Circuit Royale. I think map really felt like theirs for quite a little while. But Portugal is such a clutch team, especially D Cruz, who had clutched up multiple of these fights. Especially look back at second, where I mean, again, that double collat's going to be in my memories for a hot minute now, Joker. It's a phenomenal job by them to pull that one back. But if Iceland carries that confidence that they had on Circuit Royale, I think they can make a lot of problems for Portugal for Esperanza as well.
Yeah, I think the main thing we're seeing from Portugal right now is that clutch factor, right?
Yes.
And that's hard to teach.
Ooh.
Oh, and so we are going to see if Flamenzo can play anything other than Domina, as they do in fact ban the Domina.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one in this situation to see how this ends up going down, as it's going to be fascinating without the Domina in there, because it has, no pun intended, has dominated the last couple of maps, has been the tank to go to. Now, this could open the door for the Sigmas and the Divas to come to form that we saw all the way back on Busan, which I think produced a lot of good results for Portugal. And I honestly like this because you go back to the point I gave about Ginger Refill and how good they have been on that Domina, especially during that Circuit Royale. I don't mind shutting that down because they've gotten really comfortable and gotten a lot of confidence playing her.
Yeah, and then we'll see what what Flamenzo has in their back pocket now that they aren't playing we know them for as a DPS player, bringing them into this tank role, right? We'll see what they have in that back pocket, in that tank, their tank pool, in this map.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. It could be the last map of the afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, as we head into Esperanza, Nighttime Esperanza, which, by the way, I think is one of the best new additions to the lighting for these maps. I think it looks phenomenal. I love daytime, but nighttime, it does something for me at the end of the day. We'll see if it does anything for our teams, though, Joker, as we're going to get ready to head into this one and see what these teams want to bring out. Now, obviously, nothing confirmed until they walk out of those doors, but I imagine Diva or Sigma is going to be the likely suspects here. And no, the Zaryas potentially. We haven't really seen them today, but that Zarya has been a force to reckon with for the last couple of months now.
Yeah, right. And with the Vendetta back into the play, it does seem like it makes the most sense to bring out the Zarya here with the Domina now gone. It's really just like kind of old school double bubble, but without the Winston, because there's no tank. There's no two tanks.
Yeah, 100%. But we'll see how things get going in this situation. It's the Lucio and the Kiri coming up for both sides as well. Again, haven't really seen that in a hot minute throughout this series either. We've seen a lot of things like the Wuyong, the Alari, the Juno come out majority of the time. But we'll see how things go in this situation right here, where the Zaryas, they have a lot of damage, but if you send someone like the Vendetta onto them, it can burn them down quickly.
And now, see, I mean, Kuruma is burned out quickly. Orion is going to find that first kill for Iceland in the map. And now more and more are going to be falling down around him. Deeker's still alive somehow with the 1 HP, but Green Kachao is going to be able to find them out in the end. And now Iceland are fully in control.
Yeah, and now poor Flamenzo is going to have to eat the late death here as well. Would love to get somebody on the way out, just won't be able to do so, so now they have to wait longer for a reset here. And this is going to be great for Iceland to start with some of the momentum, something that they kind of struggled to do throughout the majority of this series is start with momentum in their hands. But they're looking good already. Grinkachu is way further ahead with that beat as well. Same thing with Jorg when it comes to the Kitsune Rush. So you're sitting in a beautiful position where if you can keep the momentum in this fight, you could make a really big lead for yourself early on in this affair.
Yeah, I was going to see, right, as Crizzy trying to make as much space as possible. Very low. Going to get a... Gonna get a bubble, but it's not going to keep him alive. Kurama now in the back line, finding a Rion out, and this is the perfect opportunity to get back in control for Portugal here. As Ginger Refill, though, on the low ground, finding out Kurama and Dank Pancake. But you are going to be all alone. You're not all alone, but you're gonna lose your, you might lose your lead here.
Yeah, you need to be in a whole different situation right now. Flamenzo, though, is close to going down, and they have to double down with the ultimates here, but Flamenzo has gone down early.
D-Cruz does find Ginger Refill out, but they do fall down in the end, and it does look like Iceland are sticking in control of this point. Green Kachu is going to find Kuruma out, and, well, not going to lose their lead and going to actually extend it.
Yeah, and now you're looking at getting that checkpoint here shortly, but you have double Graviton Surge, and remember, Warrior does not quite have that beat online, so if Ginger Refill lets this loose, it's going to be so hard to do anything, as they will get the forward spawns and give up a little bit of that space immediately as a result.
Is now going to get, is that thing? Yeah, they got those forward spawns as well. It's huge for them, as there's a grab coming out from both the Zarias here. Sound barrier in, but it is going to find Flamenzo out thanks to the sound barrier from Green Kachu, keeping them alive and well. Warrior Guigo didn't have it quite just yet, and now is Iceland can continue to push forward.
Yep, and this lead going to extend much further. And I got the Kitsune rushes going into each other. Kurama does have the Sundering Blade ready just a little bit earlier, as Quizzy's going to try to take a little bit of an aggressive stance over on the side once again. But this feels like a big must-win fight here for Portugal to clutch this one up and stop what is becoming a massive lead early on. But Flamenzo down early.
The thing is, with the nature of the push map, it is getting kind of unwinnable for Portugal at the moment. They need to be pretty much perfect, and they just can't seem to quit the bleeding first off as Dank Pancake falling down. You've got the ultimates to go in, but you need to be able to start it off. Sundering Blade available. Not going to find anything. Ginger Refill is going to just tank it head on. Does fall down in the end, but it might have given the opportunity now for Portugal to come back into this, take a fight that they desperately needed, and now you pretty much have to be perfect from here on out.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time on the clock to really burn away. But one thing Dex and I love to talk about in these situations is 50-50 Overwatch. And it's most apparent on push, to where if you want to win this map right now, if you're Iceland, you get to lose a fight, win a fight, lose a fight, win a fight. You can do that throughout the entire process of the rest of these 5 minutes, and you will win this map. It is about not letting them get on a roll and get momentum at any point in these next 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's the momentum killer coming in already for Iceland, taking Kurama out, but D-Cruz could turn it back. They can find a good opening with this overclock, but nothing's really coming in quite just yet for him at the moment. It's now bot going back into the favor of Iceland's and pushing forward. Not going to find any of those kills that you were hoping for. Now you've kind of got to get a little bit aggressive. They got the sound barrier now online. Sundering Blade coming through from Crizzy in the back line. Flamenzo super low. The healing needs to be there. Kurama now down. Flamenzo trying to stay alive. They almost have their grab available. Not going to be able to use it as there's dropped. There's out. Ginger Refill finding Warrior Guigo, and that should allow Iceland to get back in the good graces of the bot.
Yep, the forward spawn's coming back to form once more. And now you have Flamenzo with this grab going on. It should be a simple fight for them to just grab to kill them and hopefully move forward. As you're going to see them push forward to the forward spawns, and then they give up and play for the corner instead. And I think this is really smart, especially with this Graviton Surge being on. You don't want to stay heavily grouped together and let this be an easy fight for them and utilize this ult in such a simple way. So they're going to keep giving up more and more space, and eventually now they're taking a little bit of a fight on this corner.
Yeah, you've got to get something going here, and Kurama falling right there. It's just not what you needed. Ginger Refill finding a couple kills early on. You still got the grab available, but it's just not going your way here on this push map for Portugal.
Yeah, this is getting a little rough. It has been a little rough, but now you've got the Graviton Surge, and that is all you've got to try to stop this bleeding right here and now, because it's turned into an open wound as they're going to throw it over on the side. 2 are pulled in, and 2 should go down, and that they eventually will, but the point is still moving forward. They got to get back for a touch. They barely find it.
They get there in the end, but I don't know if you're going to be able to stay very long. D-Cruz on the side, finding Crizzy out. Flamenzo bringing out the monkey to get back to point as quickly as possible, trying to stabilize, and it is going to work. And you are going to stabilize for the time being, but now on the Winston, it's instead of the Zarya. I don't really know if Portugal really likes the look of things.
Yeah, they definitely don't, but now this opens up the door for a different level of aggression on this back line, because you have the Winston out, which, to be fair, still good in its own right. You have Karama in your back line that can very aggressively go in with you in these situations, but it's still going to be really difficult to manage a lot of that aggression, especially as Crizzy goes in aggressively early.
Does get forced away, though. Pretty quickly, so not going to be able to get the value we're hoping for. Now D-Cruz on the sites has the option to take some people down, hopefully more than just one, but still finding a Rion is going to be huge. You got them all lined up, grab out. Sound barrier comes through, Kitsune Rush out as well, trying, if you will, to find all the picks in the world. Flamenzo finding Crizzy out. You've got some more picks, you got some damage out. You're going to be able to keep pushing forward if you're Portugal.
Yep, and they're going to throw some people on here to try to stall it out for a little bit extra. The question is whether there'll be enough time to stop the cat from coming through. I think the answer to that question is a pretty sincere no at this stage. So you've taken the first real step of Portugal to potentially finishing this one out, but it's going to take even more fights. And when you have that Kitsune Rush online and you have nothing to throw back into it, you might see a simple procedure where the moment that comes out, Portugal says, we're not into this, we're bailing.
I think that it's going to be the likely case. So you also have to deal with the Sundering Blade coming online from Crizzy too, but now you're just kind of you're setting themselves up to, you have to engage into this because they're taking the bot away and you just can't give them the free progress back.
Yeah, it is, in a sense, Iceland's weekend with the bot, and they are taking it away. And now you have to go fight on the other side, and Orion's just going to keep taking this. They could choose to invest here and just let somebody keep taking it away.
Ooh, but Karama finding the kill onto Crizzy in the midst of their Sundering Blade is huge. They do lose Karama in the end, but you're still sitting pretty here if you're Portugal, and you're going to be able to build up to these ultimates. You might need to invest one or two to win it out, but no, you stay in, win the fight, you get your 3 ultimates. You might have more because you're healing up the rest of your squad.
Yeah, and imagine if this bot wouldn't be taken away, how much of a dangerous situation this truly would be, because now you get at least 2 fights to try to stop them right here if you are Iceland and keep this series going. But it's going to come down to Orion, and then Green Kachu is also going to have the beat online, but it's D-Cruz who's starting early.
D-Cruz starting us off yet again. Dank Pancake finding Crizzy as well. This is just huge work already for Portugal, and you win a fight just off the back of the overclock from D-Cruz.
Yep, and now, again, you still have the same ultimates, but you're behind on some of these big things like the Kitsune Rush, like the Graviton Surge that you would love to have here. Now, there's so much staying power for Portugal, but Orion's going in aggressively early. In fact, they're giving everything right now.
Got the Sundering Blade. It doesn't find the value we're hoping for, and the kills are now coming in from Iceland. You do find Crizzy late. There is a primal on the point. You would love to find Ginger Refill out here if you could, just to get rid of that Graviton Surge. Karuma in the back line finding Gorge, but you're all alone and low. You still have a chance. You still could turn this in your favor here if you're Portugal. You have the sound barrier available in a second here, but you've got to stay alive. And Dank Pancake falling down. Pick comes out, Green Kachu down. Now you don't have the sound barrier for yourself. Now it comes out online. Portugal trying, looking for anything. Crizzy back from spawn, but you got off the point. No!
And it would have been rough.
Yeah, crazy.
It would have been rough to pull that back anyway, but that's rough. You get the Graviton Surge at the very end if you're Ginger Refill, who was struggling, playing Dead by Daylight to try to stay alive through most of that instance. But this is Iceland carrying their momentum from Circuit Royale directly into Esperanza. And again, they look phenomenal. They get this early lead that is so difficult to have to overcome. And they look brilliant throughout the entire affair. And it really does jump back a little bit to this support line once again that is doing such a very consistent job. And it's a mindset of Iceland where they take a lot of these fights here, 100%. But they focus more on, hey, we're going to take this bot away. Because even if we lose this fight, we are taking away their ability to get
Yeah.
a lot more space, a lot more progression as a result. Again, imagine how bigger that last fight was going to be if you would add Portugal, that fight they won previously where the bot got taken. Imagine if they had the extra like 20 meters from that instead, and how much more pressure it would be on Ginger Refill to have to stay on that point with an ulting Winston, by the way.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, I think we might have seen one of the biggest comebacks in push if Iceland didn't have that wherewithal to move that bot back into their territory. And it's good that it didn't happen, because I feel like Iceland would have been so mentally boomed after that.
Yeah, I think 100% would have been, and that would have been rough. And obviously, that would have been the end of it right there had they had clutched it up
Mhm.
there once again, because this team has been very clutch throughout the day thus far. But now, truly, for the first time, they're going to be able to pick where we go, and it's going to be Flashpoint. Atlas is going to be the selection, which is going to make things very interesting moving forward. Don't get to see a ton of Atlas even in competitive play. But we'll see where the bans go in response to it. You could just see the Zarya get banned straight up, because I think, once again, Ginger Refill was doing so much.
Yeah, I probably expect that to come through, as Portugal do get the opportunity to ban first, so there is not a chance to protect it from Iceland. So we'll see what that ban is going to be. Especially since it is more, you normally see a little bit more. Queen.
Oh,
Ban
yeah,
Queen?
Junker Queen, I imagine, is
Okay.
what that is. So they are
Okay.
protecting their own tanks by the looks of it.
And then
And honestly, I don't hate that. I think you've had enough consistency throughout the day. But with Rafa coming back in as well, I think that they are just going to try to run it down on the usual suspects again, because Rafa performed extremely well in those first couple of maps.
I definitely have to agree with you there, and we'll see what I don't know what Ginger Refill means by aura, because I don't think that is a I don't think that is
That
a
is not
hero.
a character. It's not a hero,
So
indeed. But to be
it's
fair, there is a certain aura from banning the Junker Queen, a character
yeah.
that we've not seen throughout the entire series, which again is just a ban protect. But honestly, I'm fine with that. At the end of the day, honestly, the thing that's good for me, we haven't had a Winston ban. We don't ban Winston, not in Overwatch. You never do
We
that,
don't
Joker.
ban
You can't
Winston.
do that. Don't make him sad.
You can't ban. Yeah, you can't ban Winston. Then we wouldn't have had the Winston gameplay that we just saw
Yeah.
not Saravasa, Esperanza.
Yeah, who, which by the way, did a phenomenal job on that map as well. Even going on, because obviously we questioned it a little bit at first, but it did allow them to play a little more aggressive and a lot more quick as well. So I like that was their decision. It almost turned around the map for them. But again, it's a very heads-up situation for Portugal to double down and find confidence in that route. But speaking of a character that does require a lot of confidence, the Genji going to be taken out by Team Iceland. And to be fair, you look back at some of the stuff that was done, and you go all the way back to Circle Royale, where that Genji was honestly finding a pretty high amount of value.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, we really haven't see Genji.
Not like a ton.
Genji,
though.
yeah, not a ton of Genji. We saw Genji on, what was it, Circuit? But
Yeah,
other
it
than
was
that,
Circuit. We saw it a bit.
but other than that, we really haven't seen it much. But maybe someone likes to play it on Atlas specifically.
Yeah, I think that's a real possibility. I think the way Atlas plays, I think it plays to a Genji a lot of the time, especially that central point where that ability to get up and down that quickly is something that is incredibly valuable, because once you drop down onto that middle point, you are surrounded. You are in the Colosseum, essentially. So it's pretty easy to be surrounded, especially if you are someone that doesn't have the ability to get out of dodge and take the high ground back so quickly. But again, still for Portugal, it is match point. Still, they could end things right here on Atlas, and we'll see what the transition is with Rafa coming back in on tank, and we have obviously Kurama, who is still in as well. That we saw previously destroying things on the Vendetta back in map 1, but Iceland is a team that has gotten hotter and hotter and hotter as this series has continued forward. And now the question is, obviously, can they keep that momentum that they have locked right now going?
That's the question on everyone's mind, right? And then, but only time will tell. It definitely seems like they found their rhythm. But again, was it found too late, right?
Yeah.
Because, and that's the problem with these teams that start a little bit, need a couple of maps to warm up, right?
Yes.
Because, well, by the time you warm up, you're down 3-0, 2-0, and you get one map back. But then you have to go against the team that has the lead, and now you're going against their map picks, and that makes things so much harder.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part about having to play from behind for the second half. Everything is in power of your opponent. But obviously, you look back, this is going to be the first true instance of that being the case as well, for Team Portugal being able to make these selections first. We'll see how much it plays into their favor. Remember, Rafa back in on the tank is still going to be coming out with the Zarya initially, though, as we're looking at almost essentially the exact same thing that we saw to open things up on Esperança. So not a whole lot's going to change from the outset. But I think if you, again, see Portugal struggle to get things opened up again, you could see another situation of them deciding, hey, this isn't working, we're going to make a difference and just quickly.
Yeah, it's now going into what could be, yet again, could be the final map of the show match. Keeping the Zarya look here. Rafa bringing it out this time. See if that is a drastic change for Portugal. As already looking to start us off. Very low is Orion. This is Ginger Refill taking Rod FD out of the fight early on. And there's another person coming back in to this Portugal lineup for Atlas now, as they're still waiting it out. Point is being pressured up by Iceland, and they are going to get first capture to start us off, but is it going to stick around is the real question at the moment, as going to get super low. A lot of people very low at the moment, but no one going down quite just yet. There it is. D-Cruz finding Orion now, and this could allow, and it will allow Portugal to get some point control going their way.
Yep, and you see right there, Crizzy takes some pressure to try to get Ginger Refilled alive, who has all that delicious charge in their hand, and in fact, is going to be able to survive. And honestly, that's massive going into this next fight to have all that additional damage, because Rafa and Ginger Refill are dead even when it comes to the Graviton Surge. And the way these beats are building up, whoever gets that online first might be the decider of this upcoming fight right here. But you have to remain careful not to be overly aggressive, because Ginger Refill is close to going down already.
Yeah, as Kurama is going to fall, though. So it's a big, nice little opening for Iceland to come back here. And they're going to be able to take back that point now. In the thick of it comes Crizzy. But are they going to be able to stay alive? They do indeed, rotating back into their team.
Yep, and now Rafa has that Graviton Surge up first, and Gringachu and Rod FD are both a little bit behind when it comes to the beats to be able to stay alive through it, and Rafa's looking for it, sends it out, only has 2, but make it 3!
D-Cruz finds 3 kills in that fight, make it 4 into the shooting range of the Graviton Surge. Team kill comes through, point flips back over to Portugal.
Yeah, and that's a rough call right there for Ginger Refill to throw that one out there in response. But now things even back out in terms of ults. You used the Kitsune Rush for those fights as well, so now you have the sound barriers online. D-Cruz, though, is ahead right now with his overclock in comparison to Orion, who's kind of struggled a little bit to get into some of these fights. So you might see a rather aggressive approach here, as somebody has to force. The point is, Dank is down early.
Dangpunk King falling is big right now. You get to force the point out. Kurama is down as well, so this might just be Iceland taking this first point here, because, I mean, it's going to go quickly by when Portugal falls, and the point does flip as Crizzy finds D Cruz out there. It might just be the point done and dusted going for Iceland.
I think Kurama can get a touch, though, and Kurama's thinking about forcing the touch, and they know, and they're going to try to prevent it, but it is going to go through, so overtime will activate, and you're coming back with that beat as well, but Kurama is going to take the 1v1, but they don't get back in time.
They don't get there in time, and Kurama falls down as well. But it is going to give the side of Portugal a little bit more time to rotate and get to the point before Iceland here.
Yeah, makes things a little bit easier in the situation. Beats still online, though. But now Orion has been able to catch up with this overclock for this upcoming fight, so it's going to be very interesting and see how aggressive these sound barriers are going to be used, as D Cruz, the first one to let their ult loose.
Yeah, as overclock comes in and Gorge is down, as now you might be able to find more. Kurama is going to find a pick onto Crizzy in the midst of their own Sundering Blade as well, and the rest of the side of Portugal are going to be able to take this point.
Yeah, that is a best case scenario for them right there. All the ultimates get expended from both sides, and they take that fight win away, still in pretty convincing fashion as well. And it was their aggression with the overclock and the beat right out the gate that made it difficult to deal with. But still, they get the ability to fight back, to build up, but during that fight, Rafa got unbelievably ahead when it came to that Graviton Surge, and with no beats anywhere close to coming online, it's going to be George right now with this second Kitsune Rush already online.
Now you're coming in to the fight here with Gorge using the Kitsune Rush early on. Rafa very low. Green Kachu is going to be able to find the final blow onto them. Now we're going to see if they're going to keep going forward. Green Kachu finding another kill for Iceland, but and it's going to keep going that way. 69% up, though, for Portugal.
Yeah, nice indeed. But now you have the Graviton Surge about to be ready for Rafa. Gringachu's gotten closer to the Graviton Surge, but unless this fight goes on for a while without the Grav, I don't think you're going to get this online. It's going to be really cutting it close, and you might see them try to back out here a little bit and let Gringachu build up to it here, because if you straight up just get grabbed here, I don't think you can survive this. I think you're going to have a repeat back on point A of how things went down with that.
Gonna see here Kitsune Rush now coming in, sound barrier out in response, and now Rafa's gonna fall before they can invest their Graviton Surge here, but you're just not gonna invest it here if you're Ginger Refill either, so you're gonna stay in control if you're Portugal.
Yeah, and now there's plenty of time to go and force a retouch, but Rafa could very simply just opt to grab them instead, because now Gringachu has used the beat for it. Rafa should be able to walk in here, pull like 2 into that grab, and essentially end the fight like that. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. The question is, does it Iceland allow it to be, as their grab gets nothing?
Yeah, no one falling, and Kurama finding a Rion out already. You've got the grab available, but you could just hold on to it. And if D-Cruz finds your shots, and they do indeed, you're not going to even need the grab in this fight here, Hunters. That's a huge fight win and a huge boon to keep things going forward.
Yeah, that could be series defining right there, quite honestly, because now Rod doesn't have to use the beat. It can use it aggressively in this next fight if they opt to, and they can even hold on to the grab too. They know it's going to take Green Kachu a couple of fights to get it online. So now I think you're going to see a weird level of aggression here from Portugal, where, again, I think you potentially just go aggressive with the beat, as that'll be let loose.
Comes out from Rada. You can get all aggressive as you want, and again, you don't need to invest anything more than that in the fight, and you're gonna hold on and take the first control of this flashpoint.
Yep, and now next fight should just be as simple as what I thought would happen previously. Rafa looking for that Graviton Surge. But if you can take a quick fight, this opens up the door to build up to things like the Sundering Blade in the Kitsune Rush for Iceland, which obviously could help them pull this one back around. But you're hoping that Rafa kind of uses it aggressively and quickly. That way, you have the time to set up for another fight instead. But Rafa isn't going to pull this thing too quickly. He's going to wait for the right time, and they found it.
There's the grab out, and now you can drop all the damage in the world. And again, you don't need to even combo anything with it. You still have the Sundering Blade for the next fight too. The team kill comes through, and you're sitting pretty yet again if you're Portugal.
Yep, and now 60%. Still plenty of time for a touch. But you see Portugal playing up a little more aggressively here. They want to make it difficult for this touch to come through. You see the transition over through the side, but immediately they're willing to take a fight here because it's such an awkward spot to take a fight. And Jorg is going to have that consider rush. Here comes that aggression. They need to break through and force a touch here soon.
Yes, now they're going to come through to Jericho, finally getting something opening in here for Iceland. Now Green Kaju finding Dang Pancake out. Their picks are coming in. You've got that Kitsune rush on the point. Karuma still alive. Soundwave are going to have to be invested to stabilize Iceland on the point. They do, in fact, stabilize it and get the point into their favor.
Yep, and it's a really good performance by them to stabilize through that. They manage the aggression, they make sure one person goes and gets that touch, but you don't let anybody be in too vulnerable of a position for Kurama to follow up with that Sundering Blade. So it's a really good play by them, but now they need to win 2 really successful fights here, and Ginger Refill cannot go down early.
Cannot indeed. Neither can Gang Pancake. They're very low right now. Overclock in from D Cruz to grab out, and they're going to get their head taken off. Dang Pancake is going to take Chrissy out, and now you've got to get the touch. You've got the opportunity to keep this going in your way, though. If you are Iceland, Rafa very low, going to have to try anything to stay alive, but you might just as well die and or get out. Yeah. You've got a lot of charge. You want to stay alive. They're going to... Are they not going to try to get
well, here's the thing. The point flipped during that to Portugal. So now because of that, they get another opportunity into this fight. They can take an aggressive fight with the beat here. And they don't need anything else. They have to force Quizzy and Orion to use these ultimates, likely to try to burn through and survive through the beat that's likely to come here. And they're going to take an aggressive approach here instead as RFD lets go of that beat.
Yeah, now coming in here, and they're already looking for something. Rafa so low! Rush, huge Sundering Blade gets him super low. Gorge is able to follow him out. Orion finding Kurama as well. And the point is looking like it's going to Iceland here, Hunter, as that is going to be third point going the way of Iceland.
Yeah, and it looked scary for them for a while. They somehow managed to bounce back from that Graviton surge situation at the beginning. And it's them now kind of clutching up some of these situations. They go into that fight where they have to basically take an aggressive beat to the face. And that's never fun in any instance. But you bounce back from that. But Kurama also down early. They're taking an aggressive approach here.
Yeah, they desperately want to win it out here. And now gets first point control and win Atlas here.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to take this 4th point to get things started away. Rafa is going to have the Graviton Surge ready, but for the first time throughout the entire series, honestly, or through the map, Green Kachu has the beat ready to respond with it. So Rafa probably knows this already as Orion down early.
Yes, Kurama's going to find an opening already. There's the grab out from Rafa. You're going to get a lot of damage coming through. Sundering Blade already now, but you're going to have to stay alive if you're Kurama. Getting some healing. Rafa does fall. Ginger Refill now getting up to their own Graviton Surge. Kurama going to drop one with their Sundering Blade, but it's not going to be enough to grab. Gonna seal the deal yet again in Iceland's favor, and they're already up to 60%.
Yeah, and now they use everything for that, obviously. They try to get the chase down over under Rod FD. Rod FD is going to survive, though. And now it comes down to the Warrior themselves, D Cruz, to clutch up this fight. Only ultimate currently available. Orion is right around the corner from their own overclock, though. But you're probably going to see an aggressive stance here up top to make a little bit of space. But still, a touch does need to be forced.
Gonna drop their overclock out. Gonna look for something. Orion's down. Chrissy's down. Can they find a third? Now they're not gonna find a third with that overclock, but they could still find more. Kurama gonna find 2 as well. Make it 3 on point. Overtime comes through, but the team kill gong comes out as well.
Yep, and now Rod FD has their own sound barrier ready for the fight. Orion obviously does have the response here ready, but things are rough, and Kurama is forced back, dies early! That is disastrous!
Yeah, that's not good at all, not good at all. Kurama is going to get back pretty quick, though. But again, now you
Oh!
lose D-Cruz as well. This is just not what you wanted to see. Overtime bar now ticking up. You have to invest the sound barrier to stabilize. Try to even make some progress. Hold it out, but is it going to be enough? Overclocked in from Orion. They
Oh!
find Dank Pancake. They find Karama, and this might be another victory coming through. It is indeed for Iceland. Is where you're now. Wow, looking really comfortable on in this show match.
Yeah, they have warmed up, and now they are burning bright as we're gonna head into a sixth map for this affair. I mean, they're looking fantastic. Obviously, they're definitely still making a level of mistakes. Let's make that clear. But both teams are doing so in these situations. But even with these mistakes, they are bouncing back from them. This is what we saw Portugal doing earlier on, was bouncing back from these situations. And now it's Iceland that is kind of taking advantage, because these graviton surges haven't been the best in the world, but they're still able to bounce back from a lot of these situations. And to be fair, I think going into this, I expected that out of both these rosters, but Joker, I think that has become a bit of an understatement as we've seen from these 5 maps.
Yeah, I mean, they have been going blow for blow recently, and I mean, goodness, Iceland looking like a completely different team from those first 2-ish maps, because the third map is where they kind of turned it around, but where they probably should have won that in the end. So realistically, if they were a little bit more clutch on the third map of Circuit Royale, we're looking at a completely different series. We're looking at a 3-2 currently in Iceland's favor instead of a 3-2 for Portugal.
Yeah, this is now a really interesting situation now, going into the situation. As I double down with the word situation. But it's not something that I think a lot of people expected. You look back at how those first 2 maps went, and it is a heavy Portugal map. I don't think that's an exaggeration whatsoever. But Iceland, as they continue, they have been tipping the scale, and the scales begin to tip more and more and more as we have continued. You could argue Iceland should be at match point themselves, because they are literally a meter away from winning back on Circuit Royale, and it just doesn't go their way with the alt economy. But now they're looking great, and they've had these same 5 in throughout the entire time, and it's Portugal that's been kind of bringing people in and out. But I think the biggest thing to note is that this is most of that lineup that started back on that Busan, which I think was easily the most dominant map for Portugal.
Yeah, definitely. And now we'll have to see where Portugal decides to take us, right?
Mhm.
Because I feel that means all of the maps have been, or map types have been chosen, right?
Yeah.
Since we're going to map number 6, so we could be going back to a control map, or wherever that Portugal wants to take us, depending on how they decided to set up this show match.
Yeah, 100%. Usually it's pretty open overall, that just like we do with CGL, you go through and you can choose any type that hasn't been picked, and then once it goes through, it's just you hit the reset button, essentially. So obviously we'll see what the selection is going to be. Again, it's also going to be their ban first coming out as well. And you think about how you want to go about it, and to be fair, the most obvious thing, again, I keep bringing up the tank bans going into Ginger Refill. But that Zarya was really difficult to deal with. I think you saw
Mm.
Orion doing a lot over on the Sojourn as well, but it's hard to take D-Cruz off that character because they're
Yeah.
doing as good, or arguably better in some senses as well. So there are a lot of choices that I think are easy to label as double-edged swords.
And it looks like it is going to be control, and Karama will be coming back out. It is going to be Tia Golini coming in for Portugal now, as like I said, Li Zhang going to be the map of choice.
Yeah. Honestly, simple as can possibly be going into this one. We'll see if the lineup changed at all, which it looks like we are seeing Dank Pancake coming out, which means that Warrior likely coming back in. Looks like that will be the case in this situation. In fact, it's the multiple swaps as well. Karama's out, and Tiagolini is going to be in. So we'll see how much that is going to affect everything, because I think both of them have done a phenomenal job for the maps that they have been in the series. But the point I brought up earlier is that Iceland has had these five in the entire time, and
Yeah.
their synergy and their ability to mesh together has been amplifying as the series has gone on.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the good thing about having a little bit less of a player base to choose from, right? If you're Iceland, Portugal looking for the best possible lineup with these players available, right? Um,
Mhm.
and other than that, I mean, so they're still gonna keep trying things, keep figuring out what they want to play, where they want to play them, and when, or for
Mhm.
what sub map, what map, everything, something like that.
Mm.
Um, so I think it does help Iceland in the long run to get that synergy that it did seem to lack previously. Um, but and now it's kind of a boon for Portugal.
Yeah, that's what it's kind of become. And we see this team's ability to clutch out in some of these situations. But it has quieted down quite a lot, especially within Atlas, where it felt like the shoe was on the other foot with
Mhm.
Iceland clutching back a lot of these situations, and it's become a bit of a struggle for Portugal to find that momentum that they 100% had in their hands for those first couple of maps. But things go to a reset with Lijiang Tower, honestly. I think a lot of the significant bans, most of them have already been used by both sides. And if you can just recapture what you had on Busan with control, this could be a situation where you lock in and they are going to go ahead and ban out the Vendetta, which I like because I think you
Mhm.
have been seeing, especially with Kurama not in for this map, you don't want to let Chrissy anywhere near that character.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. And then we'll see what Iceland decide to do with their ban at least. Maybe you ban out the Sojourn, but again, I don't think you want to ban something that you also looked
Mm.
as good on as well. So I'll be pleasantly surprised to see what this ban from Iceland will be.
Yeah, I think because we saw the Domino be banned earlier, but I feel like it was Portugal that banned it out, and I could see Iceland being the one to ban it this time with Tiagolina coming back into the lineup. I think they did a pretty good job of it back over on Sukarayao, but again, JJ Rayful's been doing such a good job at it that again, there's so many because they've been playing a lot of mirror comps throughout the series a lot of the time. So almost any ban that is a target ban is going to come back on you a little bit as well. So we'll see what it's going to be here momentarily, as it's going to be the Sigma coming out here. And to be fair, you look back on Sakurao, you want to go all the way back to Busan as well. The Sigma was working out pretty good overall for Portugal.
Yeah. As yeah, Sigma Man coming out. Definitely an interesting look. Definitely interesting take. I don't know how, especially since it is Lijiang Tower. I don't. Hmm.
Well, here's the thing: is that it's the fact that we've seen it previously from them, and the fact that
Yeah.
again, most of the significant bans are gone; they do not
Yeah.
exist anymore. So you need to go into the situation saying like, what's something they could bring out that they've done
Hmm.
good on in the past? Because I think Sigma is beyond now just being a poke tank. You've seen Sigma be used a lot more aggressively with some compositions to the day that you're no longer a Sigma sitting closer to the backline throwing a shield into a Sojourn's face. It's gone beyond that here in the year of our Lord 2026. But hey, ready to go into our sixth map of the series as looks like we're gonna get a quick little restart here. Gotta upgrade some certain things within the code as we are now on daytime Lijiang to get things going on this one. But we'll see what goes in display. Remember, multiple swamps coming back in for Team Portugal. But you've had certain people in throughout the entire time. I think the only person that's been in for all six maps now is Rod FD.
Um. Yeah. Now as we load in to the game here, we'll see what these compositions are going to be looking like.
Yeah, I'm gonna be excited. Again, I think you could fall down the rabbit hole to Zarya's again, potentially. That's the situation right now, but the Zarya v Domina is a very realistic situation, which could go a couple of interesting ways. And I know we see Mizuki over on Warrior right now, or I should say vice versa. But I don't think that Mizuki's going to come out. I think Mizuki's in a bit of a weird spot right now where the healing output isn't all that high. The ultimate's extremely good though. But we'll see what's going to come to form here as we get our 6th map underway. It is still match point for Portugal, hoping to end things out here and avoid going to a tiebreaker.
Yeah, we'll see here, right? As Giga Refill going to be coming out on the Domina as well. So see the difference between Portugal and Iceland pretty easily, as the May coming out from Prizzy too on this point. As they're going to go in already getting super low, but so is Rafa, still looking for the opportunity. Prizzy is going to find Warrior out early on though, and that should at least allow Iceland to start us off with a hold.
Yeah, and Rafa not going to be able to survive and keep all that charge. So, best case for our first fight here to get things going as reset comes through, and you're going to see a slightly aggressive approach just because you have the shields available with the Domina. Chrissy's going to try to wall somebody like Rafa off, who already is going to just copy the Domina instead here. And I like the choice overall as wall comes through here. Rod going to be taken out momentarily, but unfortunately, it's not going to cause much separation.
As Rafa's already looking to get an opening here. Not going to be able to find the pick that they were hoping. But Giagalini does find Crizzy out. Rafa falling was not what you wanted, though, if you are Portugal. As you're going to have to wait for a time being to get that tank back.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough one right here, as GD Refill closes things out on that fight right there. Decruz is going to run. Someone's attempting to hit the back cap right now, which is Tia Golini, who is going to force a back cap momentarily, but this is lucky to get 10%, as Pulse Bomb's thrown out, gets some damage. We'll see if they can throw some bodies onto the point. Unfortunately, they cannot. Yeah, well, it's going to be fascinating with this next fight. Because, again, you have the Baptiste out. You're going to have your Matrix online for this fight. But you will see a very aggressive approach with Warrior and a Kitsune Rush available, especially with D-Cruz also ready to go here.
Yeah, as they're going to look to start this off. But there's the ultimate coming in from Juju Refill, and it's going to take D-Cruz down immediately. And that should just allow, yet again, Iceland to keep control of everything.
Yeah, Panopticon came out there for Ginger Refill. Rafa now has theirs online, so there's definitely something to work with going to this next fight. But still, it's rough here. At 90%, someone's going to have to force a touch here. And the closest person you have to be able to do that is Tia Golini, who's going to have to avoid the fight and just try to make it there.
Yeah, you've got to get some chance of a touch, but there's the Blizzard out on the point. You do get a touch there from Tia Golini, but I don't think it's going to matter in the long run here. Huntertain is, yeah, it's just them left at the point. Point is going to flip back over, though. Rafa's making the swap over to the Wrecking Ball to get a touch. Sound Barrier in from Rod SD, so there's still definitely an opportunity. You need to find some more kills, and you might be able to. Smooth is going to get booped off the map, but Decruz going away. No, that's not what you wanted to see, but hey, still in the end, Portugal are going to be able to take the point back.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal job with them right there, and it was rough to do it, but everybody, as those speed characters, managed to get back in time, and now you empty most of the ult bank as well from the side of Iceland. That Panopticon, the closest thing available, as Crizzy is going to make the light swap over and match the Tracer here as well. So we'll see how that goes down, as we're taking a bit of a wide swing approach right here, instead of just going directly to the point.
That's going to be a perfect opportunity for a slam down from Rafa. But now you're going to have to worry about them pressuring out the point, as they are currently there. But Tia Golini is going to find Green Kachu out. Point is going to flip back over. Now you have to fight on the point, which is not where you really want to be if you are this Wrecking Ball. You are going to find a Rian out, and now another pick comes in as Day Cruz finds that opening. It is going to be Portugal holding strong yet again.
Yeah, and again, the flip comes through at the very least, so now you get one more big fight here, but you have nothing for it. D-Cruz is going to have the opportunity to walk into a team with 0 ultimates available, as Orion is going to go over to the Cassidy. First time seeing the Cassidy throughout the day, and now D Cruz is just looking for a day at the shooting range here to end this first round out here.
Now they come in to this overclock out, ready to go. D Cruz looking for a kill, almost finding Orion out there. Point flip backs over onto the Cassidy is Orion to try to deal with the wrecking ball, but they're only going to find the spawn room yet again. Point going back into Portugal's favor yet again.
But that's the 3rd time we've had a flip come through. The problem is that Chrissy's going to die late. So now your reliable touch doesn't exist anymore. Ginger Rifle has to give up the Panopticon just to go on Doomfist and get some kind of touch here, because this is their only resort that they have right now, and they should be able to get it, but even now, the rest of the team is separated.
You have to invest in Sound Barrier too. You get the touch there in the end from Crizzy. They get back quick enough. Now you're in the back line looking to open things up. Can you find a kill? Rafa very low. Orion is going to find that opening that you were hoping for with the Cassidy. Now with the Kitsune Rush out, you've got some opportunities. But Rod FD is the ever stable back line of Portugal, opening things up yet again. Kitsune Rush in response to end it all off. Overtime ticks away. Portugal comes back on point number 1 to take it.
Yep, now on map point in this situation, they look phenomenal in that instance. To be fair, it's also good on Iceland to be able to continuously keep flipping this point, giving themselves more fights. At the end of the day, though, it just doesn't work out all that well as they would have hoped. But they make it a 99-99 situation, give them credit there. They just need to be able to close out these big fights. And now, heading into this next one, Rafa is currently still sitting on the Wrecking Ball. We could see a transition back to the Domina, but to be fair, I think Ginger Refill has been so confident on this character to where Rafa might just feel like letting things stay chaotic with the ball is going to be the best decision. But nope, I am made a fool as Rafa goes back to the Domina.
And I think it would have been hard. It's a lot harder to make that Wrecking Ball work on Control Center, right?
Yes.
Night Market has that opportunity, has more open space, and that's why we saw it work for them. But now going into this, what used to be Brawl Central on Lijiang Tower, you have to go to something more like Stamina, right? As Futhark already found Rod FD early on, and you're going to be able to find Rafa as well. D-Cruz is still alive and kicking, though, so you find Futhark out. You're going to find another pick. Now you don't have a backline if you are Iceland, so you might have to even give up this point, even though you were sitting so pretty quite earlier.
Yeah, now you can just keep Rod on this point the entire time, and you're never going to find a flip at this rate. That's the trouble. So now you just got to survive if you're Ginger Refill, which your team is coming back, but you're forced off the point. And now D Cruz, who just is building up quickly this overclock, it's looking like they might be able to take this flip or this first point for free.
Yep, and they are indeed taking that point away. D Cruz going to have to rotate around because Green Kachu did try to force him off that high ground, but now you've got the overclock ready to go, and no one's really looking at you, so you can drop that and go in onto him. Crizzy dead, Green Kachu dead, maybe even more is Orion trying to stay alive. Point does flip back over to Iceland for the moment, but it's going to only be for a moment. It is just Ginger Refill left on point, and the point flips over back to Portugal's favor.
Yep, gonna be able to get 12% out of it though, so it's something at the end of the day. But now, because of how things have gone, these ultimates are gonna be very heavily introduced into this next fight. We had a couple already used previously, but Crizzy is going to have this freeze online, and Pulse Bomb's gonna be thrown on, but it's gonna get blocked out!
So the Panopticon did come out as well from Ginger Rayville, but I don't know if D-Cruz is just going to get deleted there, stunned up, taken down. You have the Panopticon here if you're Rafa to keep things going in your favor, but right now you've lost Warrior. You might just have to give up this point for the time being, but yeah, especially losing Rod FD, you're going to have to get out, and you're not going to be able to. No? No, you're not going to be able to.
Yeah, that should be pretty settled right there with Rafa being down. And now, again, Crizzy still has his freeze ready that you could almost solo use on Rafa. And it's either going to force the cleanse out of Warrior or potentially the beat out of Rod FD to kind of keep them alive. So we'll see what the situation is here, because there's a lot available. But you probably want to be a little bit of the aggressor here, and Orion is going to find the first pick.
Orion finding that kill onto Tia Galini is going to be huge. Sound Barrier going to come out. You almost get that kill onto Crizzy. You have to rotate around. You're going to lose Rafa, though, but you could still turn this fight if you find a kill, but it doesn't look like it's going to be in the cards for Portugal right now.
Yep, and everyone else should be able to get out alive. You see a little bit of separation with this wall right here, but still no one going down. And now you invested a fair amount, and you only use your own beat if you're Rod FD, so now Rafa's going to be walking into the situation with a lot of confidence with that Kutsune Rush behind them here. It's going to be a rough fight for Iceland to win. It's going to come down to Orion again to be clutch and find this opening pick.
Ooh! D-Cruz finds Crizzy out already. He's out with the help of Wario Guigo as they're going to drop that Kutsune Rush on the point. Now you've got an opportunity, especially Ginger Refill. Someone needs to kill them. Confirm the kill. Thank you. Ginger Refill dead. Now you can take back this point pretty easily, but it's up to 91% for Iceland.
Yeah. And now, I mean, it is Final Fight territory for them in that sense right now, but you can argue the same thing here as Tia Golini is currently hanging around that corner, hoping to find somebody, but instead, I like this, the transition through the White Room instead, as this Panopticons could be the thing that decide the rest of the series. It's the final opportunity to pull this one back if you are Team Iceland.
Yes, now they come through as Ginger Refill down, finding Rafa out of the fight. Tia Golini is going to turn it back. They find Orion. That could keep things going in the favor of Iceland now, but especially losing Rod FD. Greenkachau going to fall. He's still got an opportunity to hold on to this. If you are Portugal, you keep getting these little picks every now and then. Tia Golini gonna have to recall out, stay alive, hold on to this point. You've got Rafa back. They've got the Panopticon available as well. You're gonna invest it here on the Ginger Refill, set them up for failure, take them down. They're gonna fall, and they're gonna take back the point is Portugal.
Yep, and now you need to run, take your resets. Crizzy might get out alive though, which would be absolutely massive, by the way, but is in such a helpless situation. Is gonna die late, and now you have to walk into a 4v5 with a considered rush, and you don't even have a confirmed touch right now. It's going to be so difficult to get in here.
Now you come in, you've got an opportunity to touch. Can you get there in the end? You do. You've got the sound barrier, you've got everything, but D-Cruz is there with the overclock in the back line, finding Orion, finding Greenkachau. Is it going to be all she wrote? It does seem to be the end here, as it's all blue in the kill feed for Portugal. The team kill comes through, and Portugal takes the series.
That they will. They are able to close things out. It takes them a lot longer than obviously I think they wanted it to, but it's a good performance by them to clean things up here. And again, D-Cruz, who cleaned up so many of these fights, honestly got them started more than anything else. And when it came down to this final fight, the desperation touches made it a day at the shooting range to close things out here today. But overall, it's a great performance by both teams today. The early aggression and success from Portugal, Iceland's ability to bounce back from that and really bring three very dominant maps in their favor and make this an incredible series as a result. Portugal, they double down at the end, they get their confidence in there, and they close it out. So it's beautiful for both teams what they're able to do, and I think we saw some incredible play today, Joker.
I definitely have to agree with you. They looked really good. Again, D-Cruz just continues to just be such a good Sojourn player. The only criticism I have is, well, we didn't really see them on anything other than Sojourn, right? So what happens if the Sojourn gets banned? So that's something to keep in the back of our minds, right? For future Portugal matches, future Portugal show matches, to see if we can figure out what D-Cruz has in their back pocket. But other than that, I mean, I felt really good about how Iceland came back into the series, and how they were very resilient in the end. And I really liked Portugal's clutch factor that we saw throughout the series as well.
Yeah, no, it was phenomenal how much they were able to clutch back. Again, for being down 3-0 in a series, for Iceland's sake. Because we saw that clutch come through again. I think the biggest instance ended up being all the way back on Circuit Royale, where they won 2 fights that it feels like maybe they shouldn't have won, but they clutch it up, they make it happen, and they look phenomenal throughout that instance. But Iceland Ghost does the exact same thing. Biggest instance is back on Atlas, where it felt like multiple fights where the Graviton Surge didn't find its value. You had the DPS clutching out. You constantly had these supports that managed to somehow stay alive through thick and thin. I think it's a phenomenal performance from both teams right here. I think both teams have a reason, have a lot of confidence going further into this year as they settle their rosters and their committees in due time here. But I'm excited that the series ended up being as close as it was, and there's a reason to have a lot of faith in both of these teams.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely keep that up to date, and obviously wait and see until the online qualifiers come up for OWCS to get into those conference cups coming up in the next couple of months here, Hunter.
Yeah, and I'm going to be excited when all of that comes to form. Again, just keep your eyes peeled for Twitter over the next several days as more of those committees are going to be announced. And hopefully more of these show matches come to form as well. I know me, or myself, and Dexatron have one going on next Saturday night. It's going to be Costa Rica taking on Puerto Rico. Which we saw that instance a little earlier on back in near the end of January. So we'll see how these teams have evolved a bit since then, and obviously very excited for that. But for all of y'all that came out here today, I want to thank y'all very much for being here. Obviously, I want to thank Joker for coming out today, being my companion through these 6 phenomenal maps and having a great time here today. So for everybody, have yourselves a phenomenal night. We'll see you down the line for some more World Cup action. Take care.